The smell of expensive cologne mixed with betrayal filled the air as Marcus Johnson packed his wife's belongings into garbage bags. Destiny watched from the bedroom doorway, her hands trembling as she clutched her phone. 22 years of marriage being stuffed into black plastic like yesterday's trash. "You really don't have to do this," Destiny said quietly, her voice steady, despite the earthquake happening inside her chest. Marcus didn't even look up. His 6'3" frame moved with purpose, yanking dresses from hangers, tossing jewelry boxes into bags without care. His silk Tom Ford shirt probably cost more than the bags he was using. The irony wasn't lost on Destiny. "Don't have to?" Marcus finally turned, his dark eyes cold in a way she'd never seen before. Not in 2 decades, not through 3 miscarriages, not through his mother's death, when Destiny sat by his side for 72 hours straight at the hospital. "I don't have to do a lot of things, Destiny. I don't have to keep supporting your little non-profit hobby. I don't have to keep pretending you contribute anything meaningful to this household." His words landed like physical blows, each one calculated, precise. This wasn't the man she'd married at 23. This wasn't the man who'd proposed on one knee, in her grandmother's garden, promising her forever. "Hobby?" The word came out sharper than she intended. "I've built Community Rise into something that actually helps people, Marcus. Real people with real problems. Helps people," he laughed, a sound completely void of humor. "You move money around, write grants nobody reads, and feel good about yourself. Meanwhile, I just closed a $33 million deal. $33 million. Do you understand what that means?" Destiny understood numbers better than he knew. Better than he'd ever bothered to find out. "It means you did well. I'm proud of. I don't need you to be proud of me." Marcus zipped up a bag so aggressively the sound cracked through the room. "I need you to understand that I've outgrown this. Outgrown us. Shanice understands the world I'm operating in now. She understands ambition, luxury, excellence." There it was, Shanice. The name had been floating around their marriage like a ghost for 3 months. Shanice, from the country club. Shanice, who wore Louboutins to brunch. Shanice, who'd never worked a day in her life but somehow understood Marcus's world better than the woman who'd edited his business proposals at 2 a.m. for 15 years. "So that's what this is about." Destiny's voice remained level, controlled. Her mother always said a black woman's greatest power was composure when the world expected explosion. "You want to trade me in for the upgrade model. Don't make this ugly, Destiny. You're throwing me out of my own house, Marcus. How much uglier can it get?" "Your house?" His eyebrows shot up. "Last I checked, my name is on the deed. My income paid for every square foot of this place. Your nonprofit brings in what, $60,000 a year? And most of that goes right back into expenses. You're basically volunteering full-time while I'm building an empire." The master bedroom suddenly felt smaller. 22 years of memories pressed against the walls. The corner where they danced to Luther Vandross on their 10th anniversary. The window seat where she'd told him she was pregnant the first time before the loss. The California king bed where they'd planned their future, back when we meant something. Natural CTA integration. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. You're wondering how Destiny keeps her cool. You're probably feeling that anger rising in your chest, wanting to reach through the screen. I see you. And here's the thing, this story gets so much deeper than you can imagine. But listen, if you're invested in seeing Marcus get what's coming to him, if you want to see how this impossible situation flips completely upside down, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button, because you're going to want to follow this channel for stories that hit different. Smash that like button so I know you're riding with Destiny on this journey. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, because I want to know where my real ones are located. Are you watching from Atlanta, Houston, Brooklyn, London, Lagos? Let me know, because this community is global and we support each other. Now, let's get back to this story. Because what happens next is going to have your jaw on the floor. Marcus pulled out his phone, typed something quickly, then looked up with an expression Destiny had never seen before, satisfaction mixed with something darker. Cruelty, maybe. "Shanice is on her way. She's going to help you pack. She's better at organizing anyway. Part of why she's going to make such a good wife." The word wife detonated in the space between them. "You're already planning to marry her?" "We're still married, Marcus." Or did that detail slip your mind between signing your big deal and planning your new life? My lawyers will handle the divorce. You'll get what's fair. Fair. Destiny almost laughed. And what's fair after 22 years? Enough to get you started somewhere modest. I'm not heartless, despite what you're probably thinking right now. But Destiny, be realistic. You have to understand that I'm operating on a different level now. The Blackwood and Associates deal changes everything. I'm going to be sitting at tables with people who move hundreds of millions. Private jets, exclusive resorts, galas where the tickets cost more than most people's cars. And I need a partner who fits that life. And I don't fit. It wasn't a question. You don't even try to fit. When was the last time you bought a designer dress? When was the last time you cared about anything besides those community centers and food banks? When was the last time you cared about anything besides money and status? Destiny shot back, her composure cracking just slightly. Marcus's jaw tightened. I worked my way up from nothing. You know this. We both came from nothing. But I wanted more. I wanted better. And I got it. The problem is, you got comfortable. You got complacent. You're still shopping at Target while I'm building a legacy. Legacy. Destiny tasted the word, bitter. Your legacy is going to be abandoning your wife for a woman whose biggest accomplishment is matching her purse to her shoes? See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This judgment. This moral superiority. Shanice doesn't judge. She elevates. She celebrates success instead of making me feel guilty for wanting nice things. A car door slammed outside. Heels clicked up the walkway. Destiny's stomach turned. The front door opened without a knock, without permission. Shanice Patterson walked into Destiny's home like she already owned it. And maybe, in Marcus's mind, she did. Shanice was everything Marcus apparently wanted now. Lighter skin than Destiny's deep mahogany. Honey blonde wig flowing past her shoulders. Body surgically enhanced to match Instagram standards. Her Chanel bag probably cost more than what most families spent on rent. Baby. Shanice's voice was sugar-sweet and deliberate. She air-kissed Marcus's cheek, leaving a lip gloss print. I came as soon as I got your text. Oh. She turned to Destiny with an expression of exaggerated sympathy. This must be so hard for you. Destiny didn't respond. Didn't give Shanice the satisfaction. Shanice is going to help you pack, Marcus said, as if announcing a gift. She has an eye for what's valuable and what's not. The implication was clear. Destiny wasn't valuable anymore. For the next 40 minutes, Destiny watched her life being sorted into categories. Garbage bags for her, kept for Marcus and Shanice's new life together. Shanice held up items with running commentary. Oh, this dress is cute. For 2015. She tossed a wrap dress Destiny had worn to their anniversary dinner into a bag. These earrings are nice. Are these real diamonds? Shanice held up the studs Marcus had given Destiny for their 15th anniversary. Put those in the bag, Marcus said quickly. Those are hers. Baby, they'd look so much better on me though, Shanice pouted. I said put them in the bag. Marcus's voice was firm. At least he had that much decency left. Destiny's phone buzzed. She glanced down. A text from her best friend Jasmine. Lunch tomorrow? Haven't seen you in weeks. She wanted to type back, can't. Currently being evicted from my own life. But instead, she just pocketed the phone. Where are my business files? Destiny asked, suddenly remembering. The filing cabinet in the office. Already went through it, Marcus said casually. Nothing important. Mostly your nonprofit stuff. Threw most of it in boxes in the garage. You threw away my files? Destiny's voice rose for the first time. Those files have years of donor information, grant applications, contracts. And you have it all backed up digitally, right? Because you're so organized? Marcus's sarcasm was thick. Besides, Destiny, it's time to let go of the non-profit fantasy. It's time for you to figure out what you're actually going to do with your life now. Shanice zipped up another bag, surveying the room with satisfaction. I think we got everything. Honestly, Marcus, we should just donate most of this. It's not really our style anyway. Our style. Like they'd been together for years, instead of months. Where am I supposed to go? Destiny finally asked the question that had been building. You're throwing me out, but where exactly do you expect me to land? Marcus pulled out his wallet, counted out several $100 bills, and set them on the dresser. There's a Courtyard Marriott off Highway 75. Book a room for a few weeks while you figure things out. That should be more than enough. $1,200. For 22 years of marriage? You can't be serious. I'm being generous. The lawyers will be in touch about the divorce settlement. But right now, I need you out. Tonight. Shanice is moving in tomorrow, and we have contractors coming to renovate. Renovate, erase, delete, rewrite history, like Destiny, had never been there at all. I need more time than one night. You have until morning. Be out by 8 a.m. The locks will be changed at noon. Destiny looked at Marcus, really looked at him, tried to find the man she'd married somewhere in those eyes, but he was gone. Or maybe he'd never been real. Maybe the struggle had kept him humble, and success had revealed his true nature. She gathered the garbage bags, 7 in total, and loaded them into her 12-year-old Honda Civic. Marcus didn't help. Shanice watched from the front window, probably already mentally redecorating. As Destiny backed out of the driveway for what Marcus intended to be the last time, she caught her reflection in the rearview mirror, 45 years old, starting over, alone. But her eyes weren't broken, they were clear. And in her purse, underneath her wallet, was a business card she hadn't looked at in 3 months. A business card from a meeting that Marcus knew nothing about. A meeting that changed everything. Even if Marcus was too busy celebrating his $33 million deal to notice what his wife had been quietly building. Destiny pulled into the Marriott parking lot, checked into a room with Marcus's cash, and sat on the generic hotel bed. She pulled out her laptop, opened her encrypted files, and smiled for the first time in hours. Marcus thought his $33 million deal was life-changing. He had no idea what was coming. 3 days. That's all it would take. 3 days for Marcus Johnson to realize that the biggest mistake of his life wasn't just leaving his wife. It was underestimating her. The hotel room smelled like industrial cleaning solution and broken dreams. Destiny sat cross-legged on the bed, her laptop casting a blue glow across her face. It was 2:37 a.m. Sleep felt impossible. Her phone rang. Jasmine. "Why are you calling me at 2:30 inches the morning?" Destiny answered, trying to sound more composed than she felt. "Because I'm looking at your location, and you're at a Marriott. And because Tanya's cousin saw Marcus at Capitol Grill tonight, with some woman who wasn't you, celebrating something. Want to tell me what's happening?" Destiny closed her eyes. The Black Women's Gossip Network was faster than CNN breaking news. He threw me out. Silence. Then, "I'm coming to get you. Jas, it's almost 3 in the morning. I'm already in my car." 20 minutes later, Jasmine burst into the hotel room with 2 bottles of wine, a bag of Popeyes, and enough righteous anger for both of them. Jasmine Washington had been Destiny's best friend since Howard University. And in all those years, Destiny had never seen her truly lose her cool. Until tonight. "I will kill him," Jasmine announced, setting down the food. "I know people. My cousin's boyfriend's brother works at Jazz. I'm serious. 22 years? And he throws you out like garbage? For what? For who?" Her name is Shanice. She's younger, lighter, and apparently more suited for his new lifestyle. Jasmine's face contorted. "Shanice. Of course, her name is Shanice. Let me guess. Long weave, fake personality, never worked a real job in her life? You're good at this. I've seen this movie before, Des. Black man gets some money, and suddenly his black wife, who held him down, isn't good enough anymore. It's a tired script." Jasmine opened the wine, poured 2 generous glasses. "But here's what I don't understand. You're Destiny Carter Johnson. You have 3 degrees. You built Community Rise from literally nothing into an organization that serves over 15,000 people annually. You've moved millions in grant money, created job programs, housing initiatives, scholarship funds. Why are you in a hotel room and not fighting for your house?" "Because fighting means I want to stay," Destiny said quietly. "And Jazz, I don't think I want to stay anymore." That stopped Jasmine mid-sip. "What? I've been living in Marcus's shadow for so long, I forgot I cast my own light. He sees my nonprofit as a hobby, something cute I do to pass time. He has no idea what I actually do all day. No idea who I meet with, what I've built, what's coming." "Okay, that smile is scary. What's coming?" Destiny opened her laptop, turned it toward Jasmine. On the screen was a document marked Confidential. Blackwood and Associates, Jefferson Community Development Initiative. Jasmine's eyes widened as she read. Wait, is this? Marcus's $33 million deal? Not exactly. That's what he thinks he signed. What he actually signed is a joint development contract with Blackwood and Associates that requires community impact approval from a designated local nonprofit before any funds are released. And the designated local nonprofit is Community Rise, my organization. Jasmine's jaw dropped. You're telling me Marcus's entire deal depends on your approval? Not just approval, active partnership. Blackwood and Associates doesn't do business without community integration. It's their entire model. They're not just a development firm, Jess. They're a social impact investment company. Every project they fund has to demonstrate measurable community benefit. Housing, jobs, equity, real impact. And Marcus didn't know this? Marcus saw $33 million and a corporate logo. He didn't read the fine print. He signed the deal last week, celebrated with his new woman, and threw me out. Meanwhile, I have a meeting with Blackwood CEO in. Destiny checked her watch, approximately 6 hours. Jasmine started laughing. Full body, can't breathe, tears streaming laughter. Oh my God. Oh my God. He fired the gatekeeper. Technically, he evicted the gatekeeper. This is the most poetic justice I've ever witnessed in real life. But Des, why didn't you tell him? Why didn't you warn him? Destiny took a long sip of wine. 3 months ago, I would have. 3 months ago, I was still trying to make this marriage work. I was still believing that we were partners. But then I started noticing things. The way he dismissed every conversation about my work. The way he introduced me at events. This is my wife Destiny. She does charity work. Not, she runs a nonprofit. Not, she's an executive director. Charity work. Like I was volunteering at a bake sale. Men really don't listen, Jasmine muttered. I invited him to the Blackwood meeting 3 months ago when they first reached out. I told him it was important. He said he was too busy. Told me to handle my little projects while he focused on real business. His loss is about to be catastrophic. The meeting is at 9 a.m. Catherine Blackwood herself. She's flying in from New York specifically for this. Marcus's contract requires my signature by Friday to release the first phase of funding. Today is Tuesday. Jasmine's eyes gleamed with vindication. And if you don't sign, then his deal collapses. $33 million gone. And according to the contract he signed, if the deal collapses due to failure to secure community partnership, there's a penalty clause. He'd have to return the advance they gave him, plus damages. How much was the advance? $2 million. He spent it already, didn't he? New Range Rover, new Rolex, renovations to the house, and probably a lot of gifts for Shanice. Marcus celebrates before the ink is dry. Always has. Jasmine raised her glass. To karma, working faster than usual. They clinked glasses. But Destiny's smile faded slightly. I'm not doing this for revenge, Jazz. Yes, you are. And you should. I'm doing this because Blackwood's community development model is exactly what neighborhoods like the one I grew up in need. Real investment, real jobs, real change. Marcus doesn't care about any of that. He sees this as a real estate flip with a hefty profit margin. But this project is about building a community center, affordable housing, small business incubators. If I sign, I'm responsible for making sure it actually happens the right way. And if you don't sign, I don't sign. Marcus loses everything, and the project dies, which means the community loses too. So you're stuck. No, I'm in control. There's a difference. Jasmine studied her friend's face. You already know what you're going to do. I'm going to make a deal. With Blackwood directly, Community Rise becomes the primary oversight organization for the entire project. Marcus stays on as the development contractor, but he works for me now. His profit margins get cut to standard rates instead of the inflated numbers he negotiated. The difference goes into a community benefit fund that I control. He's going to lose his mind. He's going to learn what partnership actually means. And you get everything you've been working toward. The community gets everything I've been working toward. I get to finally do the work without begging for crumbs from Marcus's table. Jasmine refilled their glasses. I'm proud of you. But I'm also petty enough to want to see his face when he realizes. You might get your wish. Catherine Blackwood mentioned that Marcus has a meeting with her on Thursday to finalize some contract details. She has no idea I'm his wife. I listed myself under my maiden name for all the Community Rise work. Destiny Carter. Exactly. Marcus never paid attention to my professional name. On paper, we're completely separate entities. He has no idea his deal is connected to me at all. The sun was starting to rise, painting the hotel room in shades of gold. Destiny felt something she hadn't felt in years. Not happiness exactly, but possibility. The weight of Marcus's dismissal was still there, still painful, but underneath it was something stronger. Her phone buzzed. An email from Catherine Blackwood's assistant, confirming the 9 a.m. meeting and providing an address. The Blackwood & Associates temporary offices downtown. I should try to sleep for a few hours, Destiny said, though she knew sleep wouldn't come. Or, Jasmine countered, we pick out your outfit for this meeting, because you need to walk in there looking like the mogul you actually are. They spent the next hour going through the garbage bags Marcus had packed. Jasmine had a point. Most of Destiny's professional wardrobe was understated, practical, non-profit director chic. But today required something different. Please tell me you packed the burgundy suit, Jasmine said, digging through a bag. Marcus called it aggressive. Perfect. Where is it? They found it at the bottom of the last bag, slightly wrinkled but salvageable. A tailored burgundy pantsuit that Destiny had bought 2 years ago for a conference but rarely wore because Marcus said it made her look intimidating. Jasmine held it up with satisfaction. Today, we're going for intimidating. By 8:45 a.m., Destiny stood outside the Blackwood & Associates building. 40 stories of glass and steel in downtown Atlanta. She'd been here before, 3 months ago, for the initial meeting, but today felt different. Today, she wasn't just a potential partner. Today, she held all the cards. The lobby was all marble and modern art. A young black woman at the reception desk smiled as Destiny approached. Good morning. I'm Destiny Carter with Community Rise. I have a 9 a.m. with Miss Blackwood. Of course, Miss Carter. She's expecting you. 37th floor, suite 3701. The elevator ride felt both instant and eternal. Destiny checked her reflection in the polished doors. The burgundy suit looked perfect. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant twist-out. Simple diamond studs, the ones Marcus had at least let her keep. Minimal makeup, except for a bold lip. She looked like exactly what she was, a woman who knew her worth. The elevator doors opened to a reception area that somehow managed to feel both corporate and welcoming. And there, walking toward her with an outstretched hand, was Catherine Blackwood herself. Catherine Blackwood was a legend in impact investing. 53 years old, dark skin, silver locks pulled back elegantly. She'd built Blackwood & Associates from a small community investment fund into a multi-billion-dollar firm that had transformed dozens of neighborhoods across the country. She was on Forbes lists, TED Talk stages, and corporate boards, and she was shaking Destiny's hand like they were equals. Destiny, thank you for coming. Let's talk in my office. Catherine's office was a corner suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. But what caught Destiny's attention was the wall of photographs. Not of Catherine with celebrities or politicians, but of communities. Before and after shots of neighborhoods transformed, ribbon-cutting ceremonies at community centers, groups of residents smiling in front of new housing developments. That's what we do, Catherine said, noticing Destiny's gaze. Real impact, real change. Not performative philanthropy or virtue signaling. Actual transformation. It's beautiful work. It's necessary work. And it only happens when we partner with people who understand the communities we're trying to serve. People like you, Destiny. Community Rise's track record is exceptional. 15,000 people served annually with a budget that most organizations couldn't make work for a quarter of that. Your overhead is minimal. Your impact is measurable. Your community trust is genuine. That's why when we decided to move forward with the Jefferson District project, you were our first call. I appreciate that, but I want to be clear about something before we go further. Catherine gestured to the chair. Please. Destiny sat, crossed her legs, and spoke with a clarity that surprised even herself. Marcus Johnson, the development contractor you've partnered with, he's my husband. Or rather, he was. He threw me out of our home 3 days ago. He has no idea that his deal requires my organization's approval and partnership. I wanted you to know this before we proceed, because there's a conflict of interest that needs to be addressed. Catherine's expression didn't change. I know. Destiny blinked. You know, we do our research, Destiny. Thorough research. We knew about your marriage to Marcus from day one. We also knew about the deterioration of that marriage over the past 6 months. And we knew that Marcus had no awareness of your professional accomplishments or your role in this deal. You knew all of this and still moved forward? We moved forward because we needed the best community partner. And that's you. Marcus's personal choices aren't our concern unless they impact his professional capability. And frankly, after meeting with him several times, I'll be honest with you, we have concerns about his commitment to the community impact aspects of this project. What kind of concerns? Catherine pulled out a folder, slid it across the desk. These are transcripts from our meetings with Marcus. Notice how every conversation eventually pivots to his profit margins, his expansion plans, his brand. The community benefit language we built into the contract? He barely skimmed it. He sees this as a real estate development deal with some PR-friendly nonprofit partnership attached. He doesn't understand that the nonprofit partnership is the entire point. Destiny, read through the transcripts. It was painful. Every meeting, Catherine or her team would bring up community impact, job creation, affordable housing ratios, and Marcus would give surface-level responses before redirecting to financial projections and profit timelines. This is who he's always been, Destiny said quietly. I just wanted to believe he was capable of more. Here's what I'm proposing, Catherine said, leaning forward. We restructure the deal. Marcus remains as the development contractor because his firm has the construction capacity we need. But Community Rise becomes the lead partner with full oversight authority. You approve budgets, timelines, contractor selection, everything. Marcus's profit margin gets adjusted to industry standards, still profitable, but not the inflated numbers he negotiated. The difference goes into a community benefit fund that you control for additional programming. How much are we talking about? Based on his current contract, he'd make about $8 million in profit. Under the restructured deal, he'd make $4 million. Still substantial, still profitable. But the other $4 million goes to your community fund. That's funding for job training, small business grants, youth programs, housing assistance, real impact. Destiny's mind raced. $4 million under her control for community programs. It was more than she'd moved in grant money in the entire history of Community Rise. And if Marcus refuses the restructuring, then the deal collapses, per the community partnership clause. He'd have to return the $2 million advance plus damages. And honestly, Destiny, given what we know about his recent spending, I don't think he has the liquidity to do that without facing serious financial consequences. You're giving me leverage. I'm giving you what you've earned. The question is, what do you want to do with it? Destiny looked out the window at the city sprawling below. Somewhere out there, Marcus was probably planning his future with Shanice. Confident that his big deal was secured. He'd thrown away his marriage, dismissed his wife's work, and assumed he'd land on his feet. He had no idea that his feet were dangling over a cliff. And his wife, the woman he'd called unambitious, the woman whose work he'd dismissed as a hobby, the woman he'd thrown out like garbage, was the only thing standing between him and the fall. I want to make the deal, Destiny said. But I want Marcus to understand what he lost. Not just me, not just the marriage, but the partnership we could have had if he'd ever bothered to see me as an equal. Catherine smiled. Then, let's make it happen. He has a meeting here Thursday at 10 a.m. to finalize some contract details. Why don't you join us? He doesn't know I'll be there? He's expecting a standard contract review meeting with myself and our legal team. Imagine his surprise when he walks in and sees you sitting at the table. Destiny felt something dangerous bloom in her chest. Not quite revenge, but close. Justice? Maybe. Reckoning. I'll be there. Thursday morning arrived, with the weight of inevitability. Destiny hadn't slept well for 3 nights, her mind cycling through possible scenarios, imagining Marcus's face when he realized the magnitude of his mistake. She stood in front of the hotel bathroom mirror, applying her lipstick with steady hands. The burgundy suit again, war paint and armor combined. Jasmine had stayed with her the previous night, moral support and hype woman in one package. You ready for this? Jasmine called from the main room. I don't know if anyone's ever ready to watch their marriage officially end. Your marriage ended when he packed your things in garbage bags. Today is just paperwork. Destiny emerged from the bathroom. It's more than paperwork. It's Marcus's entire future changing. It's everything he thought he had slipping away. Good. He earned it. Jas, I'm not a cruel person. This doesn't feel good. Jasmine stood, placed both hands on Destiny's shoulders. Listen to me. You are not being cruel, you're being honest. You're letting reality catch up with his decisions. Marcus made his choices. He chose status over partnership. He chose ego over loyalty. He chose a woman who matches his shoes over a woman who built an empire while he wasn't paying attention. The consequences of those choices aren't your responsibility to cushion. When did you become so wise? I've always been this wise. You've just been too busy being understanding to notice. They arrived at Blackwood and Associates at 9:45 a.m. Catherine had arranged for Destiny to wait in a conference room adjacent to the main meeting space. Through a glass partition with one-way visibility, she'd be able to see Marcus arrive, watch his confidence, witness the moment it all shifted. At 9:58 a.m., Marcus walked into the building. He looked good. Destiny hated that she noticed, but she did. New suit. Probably Armani. Fresh haircut. Lineup crisp. The Rolex she hadn't seen before. Catching the light. He carried himself like a man who'd won at life. A man who'd shed dead weight and emerged lighter, freer, richer. He checked in at reception, was directed to the elevator. Destiny watched the numbers climb. 37th floor. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Catherine entered the conference room where Destiny waited. You still want to do this? We can restructure without you present. You don't have to face him. I do have to face him, not for revenge, for closure. He needs to understand what he threw away, and I need to say my piece. Understood. Give us 5 minutes, then come in. I'll set it up. Catherine left. Destiny could hear voices now. Marcus's deep baritone, confident and casual. Catherine's measured professionalism. Another voice, Robert Chen, Blackwood's chief legal counsel. Through the glass, Destiny watched Marcus settle into a chair, all ease and assurance. He joked about something, made Catherine smile politely. This was his element. The boardroom, the deal, the performance of success. So, Marcus said, his voice carrying clearly, I'm assuming we're here to finalize the timeline and discuss the first phase of funding? I've got my construction team on standby. We can break ground within 30 days if the funds transfer goes smoothly. Actually, Catherine said, we're here to discuss a contract modification. Marcus's smile faltered slightly. Modification? I thought we had everything locked down. Marcus's smile faltered. We do. However, there are some aspects of the community partnership clause that require clarification and your agreement to slightly adjusted terms. Community partnership clause. Marcus's tone shifted. Became more cautious. That's the nonprofit component. Right? Community rise? Or something? Community rise? Yes. It's not a component, Marcus. It's a cornerstone. This entire project is structured around measurable community impact, with oversight from our designated community partner. Right. Sure. I'm all for community impact. Great PR. But Catherine, let's be real. The heavy lifting here is the construction, the development, the actual building. The nonprofit stuff is support programming, important, but secondary. This was Destiny's cue. She stood, smoothed her suit, and walked through the connecting door into the main conference room. Marcus's head turned at the motion. His eyes found her. And Destiny watched 22 years of marriage, 3 days of arrogance, and every assumption he'd ever made about her collapse in real time across his face. Destiny? His voice cracked on her name. What are you? Why are you? Good morning. Marcus. Destiny took a seat at the table, directly across from him. Thank you for having me, Catherine. Of course. Catherine's expression remained perfectly neutral, professional. Marcus, I'd like you to meet Destiny Carter, the founder and executive director of Community Rise, our primary community partner for the Jefferson District Development Initiative. The color drained from Marcus's face. Destiny Carter. That's you use your maiden name? For professional purposes, yes. I have for 15 years. You never asked. Marcus looked between Destiny and Catherine like he was trying to solve an impossible equation. You two know each other? We've been in partnership discussions for 3 months, Catherine said. Community Rise was identified early in our research phase as the ideal local organization for this project. Their track record, community trust, and demonstrated impact made them the clear choice. 3 months. Marcus's voice was barely above a whisper. He was calculating now. Destiny could see it, counting backward. The meeting you wanted me to attend. The one you said was important. That meeting was with Catherine, to discuss Community Rise's potential role in a major development project. You said you were too busy. You told me to handle my little projects while you focused on real business. I didn't know. You didn't ask. Destiny's voice was calm, steady. No anger, just fact. You assumed my work was insignificant because you never bothered to understand what I actually do. Robert Chen cleared his throat, mercifully professional. Mr. Johnson, perhaps we should review the contract you signed. Specifically, Section 7, Subsection C, the Community Partnership Integration Clause. He slid a document across the table. Marcus's hands shook slightly as he picked it up. This section, Robert continued, pointing, stipulates that all project phases require written approval from the designated community partner. That partner has full oversight authority over construction timelines, budget allocation, contractor selection, and all community benefit programming. The partner is Community Rise. The executive director with signing authority is Miss Carter. Marcus read the section once, twice, 3 times. His jaw clenched. This means your $33 million deal requires your ex-wife's approval to move forward, Destiny said quietly. Your soon-to-be ex-wife, I should say. Destiny, this is insane. I can't what? Exercise my professional authority? Fulfill my organizational responsibilities? Or are you about to tell me I can't do my job again? Marcus stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. Catherine, with all due respect, this is a conflict of interest. Destiny and I are going through a divorce. She's obviously biased against me. You can't seriously expect. Sit down, Mr. Johnson. Catherine's voice carried steel beneath the silk. Marcus sat. We were aware of your personal relationship with Miss Carter before we entered into any agreements. We moved forward because Miss Carter's professional credentials and Community Rise's track record were precisely what this project needed. Your personal decisions regarding your marriage don't change her professional qualifications. She's going to tank the deal out of spite. Am I? Destiny asked. All eyes turned to her. Have I indicated that? Or are you projecting your own vindictiveness onto me? Marcus had no response. Here's what I'm proposing. Destiny continued. A contract modification that better reflects Blackwood and Associates' commitment to genuine community impact. Marcus, you'll remain as the primary development contractor. Your firm has the capability and capacity we need. However, your profit margin will be adjusted to standard industry rates. How much are we talking? You're currently contracted to make approximately $8 million in profit. Under the modified terms, you'll make $4 million. Marcus shot out of his chair again. $4 million? That's half. That's no. Absolutely not. I walked away from. He stopped himself, but not fast enough. You walked away from what? Destiny's voice was quiet, dangerous. From me? You threw me out, Marcus. You called my life's work a hobby. You replaced me with a woman whose greatest skill is matching accessories. And now you're upset that your decision has consequences? This isn't about our marriage. No, it's not. It's about a community that needs real investment and real oversight to ensure that investment creates actual change. The $4 million difference between your inflated profit and standard industry rates, that goes into a community benefit fund. Job training, small business grants, youth programs, housing assistance. Real impact overseen by people who actually care about the community's well-being. People like you mean? Yes, like me. Marcus turned to Catherine, desperation creeping into his voice. There has to be another community partner. Someone else who can. There isn't, Catherine said simply. Community Rise is the most qualified organization in the Jefferson District. And frankly, Mr. Johnson, even if there were alternatives, I wouldn't pursue them. Your dismissiveness toward community impact throughout our partnership discussions has been noted. Your focus has consistently been on profit margins rather than community benefit. The modification Miss Carter is proposing actually aligns with our values much better than your original contract. So I'm being punished for wanting to make money. You're being held accountable for neglecting the purpose of this partnership. Destiny corrected. Blackwood and Associates isn't a traditional development firm, Marcus. They're an impact investment company. The profit is secondary to the purpose. You didn't read the fine print. You saw 33 million and signed. Your ego wrote checks that your understanding couldn't cash. Robert Chen slid another document across the table. This is the modified contract. You have until 5 p.m. tomorrow to sign. If you decline, the original contract is voided, and per Section 12, you'll be required to return the $2 million advance plus liquidated damages of $1 million. Marcus's face went gray. $3 million. I can't. The Range Rover, the Rolex, the home renovations, the gifts for Shanice, Destiny listed quietly. You spent it, didn't you? You celebrated before the money was actually secure. Marcus's silence was confirmation. So you can either accept $4 million in profit for a year's worth of development work, Catherine said, or you can face a $3 million debt you can't pay and the collapse of your business reputation. Those are your options. Marcus looked at Destiny with something she'd never seen in his eyes before. Not anger, not dismissal, but fear. Genuine, bone-deep fear. You planned this, he whispered. You knew all along. You knew about Blackwood, about the contract, about everything. You could have told me. You could have warned me. I invited you to the meeting 3 months ago. You declined. I mentioned my work with community development partnerships. You called it cute. I tried to share my professional life with you for 22 years, Marcus. You never listened. You never asked. You never thought my work mattered enough to pay attention. So this is revenge. No, this is business. This is me doing exactly what you've always accused me of not doing. I'm operating at a high level. I'm sitting at an important table. I'm making decisions that move millions of dollars. I'm building something bigger than myself. Isn't that what you wanted? For me to have ambition? Marcus slumped in his chair. The confidence, the swagger, all of it evaporated. He looked smaller now, diminished. If I sign this, he said slowly, what happens to us? To the divorce? The divorce proceeds regardless. The lawyers will handle the settlement. But Marcus, if you sign this, you get to keep your business, your reputation, and a still substantial profit. And the community gets resources they desperately need. Everyone wins, except your ego. And if I don't sign, then you lose everything. The deal, the money, probably your business, when word gets out that you defaulted on a major contract. And, Shanice, Destiny's smile was sad. Women who love you for your money don't typically stick around when the money disappears. Catherine stood, signaling the meeting's end. Mr. Johnson, you have until 5 p.m. tomorrow. The choice is yours. But I'll be honest with you, I hope you sign, not for your sake, but because this project will genuinely help people. And despite everything, I believe Miss Carter hopes the same. Marcus looked at Destiny, really looked at her, maybe for the first time in years. You really built all this? Community Rise, the partnerships, the impact? I really did, while you weren't looking, while you were dismissing it as a hobby. I didn't know. You didn't care to know. There's a difference. Marcus gathered the modified contract with shaking hands. He stood, straightened his jacket, trying to recover some dignity. I'll have my answer tomorrow. Marcus, Destiny called as he reached the door. He turned. Whatever you decide, I want you to understand something. I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because it's the right thing for the community I serve. The fact that it also teaches you a lesson about underestimating people, that's just a bonus. Marcus left without responding. The door clicked shut behind him with a finality that felt like closure. Catherine poured 3 glasses of water from a pitcher on the credenza. That was remarkably restrained. I half expected shouting. Shouting would have given him power, Destiny said. Calm is much more effective. Will he sign? He'll sign. He has no choice. His ego is bruised, but his survival instinct is stronger. Robert Chen closed his folder. Miss Carter, assuming Mr. Johnson does sign, we'll need to finalize your oversight structure, weekly check-ins, budget approvals, community feedback mechanisms. This is going to be intensive work. I'm ready. This is what I've been building toward for 15 years. After Catherine and Robert left, Destiny sat alone in the conference room, looking out at the city. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jasmine. How did it go? Destiny typed back. He knows. He's terrified. He'll sign. 3 dots appeared. Then, how do you feel? That was the question, wasn't it? How did she feel? Not vindictive. Not triumphant. Just clear. For the first time in years, Destiny felt like herself. Not Marcus's wife. Not someone's shadow. Just Destiny Carter, a woman who'd built something meaningful and was about to make it even bigger. Her phone rang, an unknown number. Hello, Miss Carter? This is Trevor Williams from the Atlanta Community Foundation. We heard about your partnership with Blackwood and Associates. We'd like to discuss potential grant funding for your expanded programming. And so it began. The calls, the opportunities, the recognition. Word traveled fast in Atlanta's nonprofit world. By the end of the day, Destiny had received inquiries from 3 foundations, 2 corporate sponsors, and a request to speak at the Georgia Nonprofit Conference. Marcus called at 4:47 p.m. the next day, 13 minutes before the deadline. I signed, he said without preamble. The modified contract. I signed it. Thank you, Marcus. Don't thank me. You didn't leave me a choice. I gave you exactly the choice you gave me 3 days ago. The difference is, my choice came with an opportunity. Yours came with trash bags. Silence. Then, I was wrong. About you. About your work. About everything. Yes, you were. Does that matter now? Not for us. We're over, Marcus. But maybe it matters for whoever comes after Shanice. Maybe you'll actually listen next time. Shanice left yesterday, once she found out the deal was modified and the profit was cut. She said she didn't sign up for middle-class money. Destiny almost laughed. Almost, I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're right. I'm not. Marcus was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, I am sorry. For the bags. For the hotel. For not seeing you. All of it. Apology noted. Goodbye, Marcus. She hung up before he could respond. 6 months later, Destiny stood at the groundbreaking ceremony for the Jefferson District Community Center. Marcus was there, in a hard hat, awkwardly standing to the side, while Catherine Blackwood gave the opening remarks. The local news cameras were rolling. 15 community organizations had booths set up. Job fair recruiters were talking to residents. Children were playing in a designated area with face painting and balloon animals. This was real. This was happening. And Destiny was at the center of it all. Catherine called her to the microphone. And now, I'd like to introduce the woman who made all of this possible. The executive director of Community Rise and the visionary behind this community transformation, Destiny Carter. Applause erupted. Destiny stepped forward, looking out at the crowd. Jasmine was front row, crying and cheering. Her mother had flown in from South Carolina. Former clients from Community Rise were there. People whose lives had been touched by her work. And in the back, barely visible, Marcus stood watching, not with bitterness, not with anger, but with something that looked like respect and regret. Destiny spoke into the microphone. 5 years ago, I started Community Rise in a one-room office with a $1,000 grant and a dream. People told me I was naive. They said you can't change systems, you can't transform neighborhoods, you can't make real impact without millions in funding or political connections. But here's what I learned. You don't need permission to serve your community. You don't need anyone to validate your vision. You just need to show up, do the work, and believe that your contribution matters. She looked directly at Marcus for just a moment. Sometimes the people closest to us can't see our value. They're too busy looking at what they think success looks like to notice the success we're actually building. And that's okay, because our worth isn't determined by who recognizes it. Our worth is determined by the lives we touch, the communities we serve, and the legacy we leave behind. More applause. Destiny smiled, not at Marcus, but at the crowd, at her people, at the future they were building together. After the ceremony, as the sun set over Atlanta, Destiny sat on a bench watching construction workers prepare the site. Her phone buzzed with congratulatory messages, job offers, partnership opportunities, interview requests. Marcus approached cautiously. Can I sit? It's a public bench. He sat, leaving space between them. You did it. Everything you said you'd do, you actually did it. I know. I should have been there for all of it. I should have been your partner, not your obstacle. Yes, you should have. Is there any chance? No, Marcus. There isn't. We're done. But you're a good contractor. Do this project right. Honor the community. And maybe you'll discover that there's more to success than profit margins and status symbols. I'm trying to. Try harder. Destiny stood, gathered her things, and walked toward her car. Not the 12-year-old Honda anymore. She treated herself to something newer, something reliable. Not flashy, just solid. Her phone rang. Jasmine. Dinner to celebrate? My treat. Your treat? I'm the one with the $4 million budget now. Okay, your treat, but I'm ordering expensive wine. Deal. As Destiny drove away from the construction site, away from Marcus, away from everything she'd lost and everything she'd gained, she realized something profound. She'd spent 22 years trying to be enough for someone who couldn't see her value. And in the process of losing him, she'd found herself. Not the woman Marcus had dismissed, not the wife who'd bent and compromised and made herself smaller, but Destiny Carter, executive director, visionary, force of nature. The woman who'd been there all along, just waiting to be recognized. And if Marcus couldn't see her, if he'd thrown her away like garbage, that was his loss, not hers. Never hers. Because Destiny Carter didn't need anyone to validate her worth. She'd been building her empire all along. And now, finally, she was ready to rule it.